This game I happened to find at my local Play and Trade. This game, a lot of people on YouTube really hate because they think the control is bad, all the perspectives are bad. Me personally, I enjoy the game thoroughly, and I don't understand why they give it such a bad rap. But then again, this is YouTube. Everybody has their own personal opinion. But I'll give you mine. I love the game, and that game is Sword of Vermilion for the Sega Genesis. This RPG had a bunch of different perspectives in the game, which was actually very cool for its time. It had a explore version where you explored the forests and dungeons in like a first-person mode, almost like Shining in the Darkness for the Sega Genesis. It also had an over-the-head view where you battle in random encounters as well as exploring towns and talking to townsfolk. And also, it had a side-scrolling version where you battle the main bosses of your dungeons. For those of you not familiar with the game, basically the story revolves around an invading king named King Zarkon, who invades the kingdom of Excalibria, and King Eric, in a desperate attempt to save his lineage, takes his only son and has his best knight to hide him away far from the kingdom. What happens later on in life is that this prince becomes a very skilled warrior, and the knight that's protected him all this time, on his dying days, tells him his family lineage. He finally realizes he's a prince and decides to take revenge on King Zarkon by finding the 8 rings of good in the land of Vermilion. Alrighty, next one coming up is a PlayStation 2 title, which I'm happy to get back in my collection as well. I never beat this game when I bought it originally, so I'm happy to get it back so I can finally finish off. And this is actually the last game in a long-running series that spanned the Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, as well as PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. And that title is Legacy of Kain: Defiance. Now, this game, like I said, is part of a long-running series. I'd recommend going through and playing the entire Legacy of Kain series before getting to this one, because there's a lot of plot twists and storyline that you'd miss out when you get to this one if you don't go through those. Next few pickups I got on the list is a few GameCube titles I picked up recently. First one I picked up was SSX Tricky. This is actually a common one to find for any system. This one came on the GameCube, PS2, and also Xbox. And if you haven't played this game before, I do recommend it. Next one I pick up is the GameCube title, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I picked it up because I'm trying to put together all the Mario RPGs just to give them a shot and just say, hey, at least I played them. Now, when I saw this initially, when it first started being previewed back in the day, I thought to myself, that just looks like crap. I mean, how dare they go from an RPG that Squaresoft made and go to something like this? But I thought I'd pick it up, give it a shot, and at least put my mind to rest if this is good or not. I haven't played this yet, but I did pick it up at a Goodwill for at least about $3, so I thought it was a good deal. Manual Gamer Complete. So hopefully one of these days I'll go and pick it up and try to get through it and see what my personal opinion about it is. The only thing I've heard, for the most part, it's a talker and a third. So I can get through a little bit of dialogue, but I'll give this a shot whenever I get a chance. Alright, the next 2 games I picked up is Sega CD titles, which I found off of eBay recently. The first one is actually one of the rare few fighters that I own, and this game is Eternal Champions: Challengers from the Dark Side. Now, the original game, Eternal Champions, is on the Sega Genesis. This was supposed to be an upgrade, so to speak, but I consider this a sequel more than I do anything else. So, with this one, you actually have additional fighters and also additional modes such as Russian Roulette and Survival And you also have finishing moves like in Mortal Kombat. And the next one, it was cheap. I was just enthralled by the dark side, so I'll go ahead and say it. Yep. Cliffhanger. Yeah. They actually made a game off this movie. And then there were 3. The Super Nintendo 3, that is. Okay, the last 3, I have 1 as an individual title, and 2 are actually the first 2 entries in a very long-running RPG series. Alright, first one I'm going to bring up is a shooter! Phalanx. At least I hope that's how you say it. Yep, it's that one they always complain about, that the ships fly in the background and the creepy guy's playing the banjo. The creepy guy with the banjo has nothing to do with the game whatsoever. Why they went this route, I have no idea. Haven't had a chance to try this yet, but I've got people telling me that this is actually a decent shooter to check out. So whenever I get a chance, this will be in my Super Nintendo playing for a little bit, because I do love shooters. My favorite shooter, Thunder Force. And if nobody's tried the Thunder Force series, shame. That's right, shame. Because you deserve that shame for not playing Thunder Force. Okay? Got it? Okay, now you feel guilty. You're okay. And now the last 2. And what are the last 2, you might say? 2 of the hardest damn things I've ever had to find in my life. But, glad I got them. And for a decent price. One I had to pay 20 bucks for. The other one I just happened to find for like 10 bucks on eBay. And can anybody guess what they might be? Come on, clock's ticking. Okay. Since you can't read my mind, I will tell you basically what it involves. It involves 1, a character named Ryu, 2, Princess Nina, and 3, their RPGs in the first 2 entries in the series. Nothing? Really? Okay, how about this? Your main character Ryu has the power to transform into a dragon. Still nothing? Okay. The suspense is done. Those games are Breath of Fire. I was fortunate enough to pick up the Super Nintendo versions of Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire 2. These were the only 2 titles I didn't have in my collection to complete the Breath of Fire series. I already have 3, 4, and also the well-hated Dragon Quarter. I did have these on the GBA at one point, but for some reason when I moved down here to Georgia, they disappeared from my collection. So I thought instead of getting the GBAs, I would go ahead and get the full-fledged Super Nintendo versions where they came from. Don't know if you can see the box art there, but it's definitely different from the GBA version if you haven't seen it. One's made by Capcom and one's made by Squaresoft. Why? Who knows? All I know is that these are 2 great RPG entries if you've not tried these already. So I do recommend these when you can find them and at a decent price, especially 2. 2 is the most expensive one I found, and the cheapest one by far when I found it for 20 bucks. But this keeps on going up in price from what I've seen on eBay the last time I tried to buy it. So yeah, I'm glad to have these. So these will be definitely played out, hopefully, by the end of the week. Because I do love me some Breath of Fire. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for right now. So hopefully I'll have some more stuff up here soon. It just depends on my time frame and my work schedule and all. So I hope you enjoyed what I picked up. So until next time, till all gamers are one, this is Optimus Cromwell. See you later.